Welcome back to Breakdown Monday, March 16, 2026. The brackets are out, JJ. The madness is in full bloom. Are you happy?
It's St. Patrick's Day Eve. How can I not be happy?
You are McClure.
I am a little
Okay, okay. So the brackets out, JJ. Did the committee get it right?
They get it right. Four number one seeds: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida. Um, yeah, I would say that they got it right.
Okay. Bubble teams, Auburn, Oklahoma, Indiana, they all missed.
Yeah, San Diego State. They were on the outside looking in.
They were
Miami of Ohio got in.
Play
Texas, but they got to go to Dayton.
Yeah.
Same thing with Texas. Miami of Ohio's opponent is SMU out of Dallas. They just snuck in, and yeah.
SEC got 10 in, JJ. We said they would get 10 in. The Big Ten got 9 in. We said Big Ten was going to get 10. Indiana lost first round of Big Ten playoffs tournament.
Yeah, they did, and
Didn't look good in it either.
No, they had looked pretty bad, throughout the entirety of the season. Honestly, like they had some ups, but for the most part, I'd say the season was down, and especially at the end of the season. So, it's not the best way you want to start your first season at Indiana, but it's their first season. They were a bubble team. Indiana fired their coach for a reason. They're searching for that replacement for Bobby Knight. It feels like perpetually. It feels like they're in the wilderness with Moses and them. But one of these days, they're a blue blood. You saw like how their fan support showed itself in the football side of things. It's a basketball school. I have no doubt that sooner or later they'll know that higher. But until then, man, it's just been bad. Like they've made the tournament 2 times the last 9 years.
Okay, before we start talking about the teams, JJ, I was just going to say really quickly on a semi-side note, the women, the Big Ten got 12 in. UCLA is the number 1 seed. And the SEC got 10 in for the women. So the 12 ties the record for women from a single conference. But JJ, let's talk about...
Well, 18 schools in the conference, that's going to happen more and more.
Let's talk about the men's bracket, JJ.
Well, like the men, the SEC got 10 in. The Big Ten only got 9 in on the men's side of things.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
Who got the best draw? What team in your mind?
Ooh, I think the best draw of any of the teams, I had to say, I like Michigan's draw. I do like Michigan's draw.
You and I are in agreement. Who got the worst draw?
For 1 seeds?
For the whole bracket. I mean, the whole tournament.
Oof. Worst draw for the whole tournament. That's tough. Ooh.
It's quite easy. I'll tell you. Make it easy on you. It was the jersey that you're wearing right now, the Arkansas Razorbacks.
The 4 seed.
Yes, they got the worst draw possible. They finished yesterday playing in Nashville. They had plane issues. They couldn't get out of Nashville until 9 o'clock. They didn't get back to Arkansas until around 10:30. And they got to play Thursday in Portland at 4:30. That means that they, after playing 3 games in a row, they get back today. They really couldn't do much. And then tomorrow they got to travel to Portland. So they get to practice Wednesday, play a game Thursday. I think that's a pretty bad draw. They would have done better, JJ, had they lost that tournament. They may have gotten sent to Oklahoma City, which Vanderbilt did, or they may have gotten sent to St. Louis, but they got sent to Portland. But that's neither here nor there. They're gonna win it all regardless.
Had they lost, it probably would have been a 5 seed, and they would have had a tougher opponent. So it just matters on what your sights are. I'm not worried about the initial game as much as I'm worried about the second weekend. But we'll talk about that later.
Well, Vandy's a 5 seed, and they playing in Oklahoma City. But we will talk about that later, JJ. The teams, man, How many teams from the SEC and the Big Ten will make it to the second round? If you can count them, or you can tell me, or who won't make it past the first round? That's easier to do.
SEC and Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
I think the 11 seeds, like Texas. I don't really see them, upsetting a 6
Okay.
if they make it out of Dayton even.
Right.
But
I see Missouri losing to Miami as well.
I have Miami over Missouri, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if Missouri were to beat Miami. I mean, Missouri has some solid wins at home.
And that game is in St. Louis.
Yeah, so I definitely would not be surprised if Missouri. I would not be surprised if Missouri pulled the upset there. But they beat Florida, did they not? Missouri? I mean, it was like by 2 points, but
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they did.
yeah, I think they, in St. Louis they can absolutely be, first year coach Jay Lucas. But Missouri, I don't expect. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. Wisconsin, a lot of people have Wisconsin as a trendy pick as the 5-12 every year.
I've seen that.
People, High Point back-to-back tournaments. They 30-4 this year.
JJ, rather than asking you a question like that, I wanna do this in a different manner. I want to start at the top rack on the left, and look at the Big Ten SEC schools. Tell me which one moves on, and then go down to the bottom, and then go back up to the right on the right side, the top and then the bottom. If we can do that, so we'll start off in the East. The Big Ten teams in the East at the top of the bracket: Ohio State and TCU. First game.
I think Ohio State should have the best player on the floor. So like guard play is so important in March. Having the all-time leading scorer in Ohio State history. I think Ohio State can beat TCU. I think that's probably where it stops, but that's where I would have them.
Okay, this is an 8-9. Ohio State is 8. TCU is 9. TCU beat Wisconsin earlier this year. They beat Texas Tech. They beat Iowa State. They lost a very close game to Michigan earlier this year.
Yep.
It's not a done deal. They're 8-9 for a reason. To me, that's a toss-up. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Other team in the East, Michigan State plays North Dakota State. Michigan State's a 3 seed. North Dakota State's a 14 seed.
Yeah, North Dakota State, a lot of predictive metrics have them as being the best 14 seed. And I think that, of all the 14 seeds, Michigan State probably doesn't match up with them as well as they do with others. But at the same time, it's a 14 seed versus a 3 seed, so I would fully expect Michigan State to win that game.
Yeah, the competition is a lot different. North Dakota State is 27-7. Excuse me, Michigan State is 25-7. JJ, this is an interesting one. The 7 against the 10, and excuse me. UCLA and UCF.
Yeah, UCF is they're athletic. They have a formidable front court. But UCLA has been playing very well. They've been playing out of their minds.
They've been playing exceedingly well ever since the loss to Michigan State at Michigan State. They've defeated Nebraska, Illinois, Michigan State, and they played Purdue. They lost to Purdue in the tournament, but they've beaten Nebraska, Illinois, Michigan State. Those are pretty tough names.
Yeah, and their two of their 4 best players got injured in that Big Ten tournament.
That's true.
And they were it was reported that they're supposed to be available for the NCAA tournament. So
that's what I heard.
That's a big deal for UCLA. Yeah. They lost 1 game all season at home. So they didn't have as much success on the road, but for a Big Ten team that's on the West Pacific Coast, having to travel east as much as they did, I think that made them battle tested for this type of tournament.
Well, they're going to be in Philly against UFC.
They're used to that's Big Ten territory.
Okay.
The entire country is Big Ten territory, but that might as well be.
Yeah, let's go to the South region.
Let's pivot down south.
You know what? Did we overlook an SEC team in the East? Are there no SEC teams in the East, JJ?
In the East, I think that was the one. That was the one region that did have no SEC teams. I know there was one that had none.
There are 10 regions. And that just doesn't
There's 10 SEC teams.
I mean, 10 SEC teams.
Most in the tournament.
And not a one in the East.
Yeah, I don't really understand how that worked out, but that's how it worked out.
Okay. Well, let's go to the South, JJ. Florida. Number 1 seed against number 16 seed. Fairview, A&M, or Lehigh. Shouldn't be much competition there.
Yeah, unless CJ McCollum is walking through that door, I don't really see Lehigh pulling the upset over Florida.
What about the 8-9 game with Clemson against Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa, they have Bennett Sturts. He's going to play in the NBA. He's a good lead guard, but Clemson, I think, is the more well-rounded team. They really struggled down the stretch of the ACC, but there was a while where they were in the running with Virginia, North Carolina and Duke for to actually compete for the ACC. So I do think that Clemson has more talent and they're more well-rounded. So I would pick them to beat Iowa. I mean, Iowa has the best player though on the court, and that can when the guy has the ball in his hands in March, that can make a huge difference.
So true or false? 55 points will win this game.
No, that's not.
You don't. That's the answer is false.
No.
Well, 60.
No.
60 points will win this game, JJ.
Okay.
Okay. Vandy and McNeese, JJ.
Vandy and McNeese. That's another 5-12 upset people have been talking about.
McNeese 28-5. Vandy 26-8.
Nope.
Vandy
almost won the SEC tournament, and they got a 5 seed
in OK City.
In Oklahoma City.
I'm taking Vandy. I like their guard play.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the type of team that can be exploited because of how balanced they are and how quick their guards are and just how well they can get into the paint. And I just think that this is going to be a win for Vandy as well.
Staying in OK City, JJ, Nebraska and Troy. Will Nebraska win an NCAA tournament game, JJ?
I mean, they're the only Power Four conference team that has never won one, so it's about damn time. I would say Nebraska, if they can't beat Troy after having the best season in the history of the program, maybe they should think about relegating the sport and just committing more to women's volleyball or
Nebraska wins.
Yeah, they better win. If they don't win, I mean, Fred Hoiberg might be right back on the hot seat. I don't know. That's pretty bad.
They will win. In Greenville, North Dakota, Illinois, Penn State. Illinois, JJ. Man. 24-8.
Illinois, Penn State is no
yeah,
in the tournament.
Penn. Not Penn State, Penn.
Yeah.
On paper, Illinois should just roll. But Illinois has been struggling, man. They haven't been playing up to their potential to me. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, Illinois does have a lot of potential. They have a lot of guys that will be playing in the NBA. Yeah, Peja Stojakovic's son, transfer from Cal. You got you have the freshman of the year, Keaton Wagler. He's going to be a lottery pick at the point guard. You have so many skilled players that can dribble, shoot, and pass that are good size for their position. 6'6" or above. But they're not athletic at all. They're not athletic. They don't score any fast break points. They don't get out in transition. So they're a team that actually, Penn won't be overwhelmed by their athleticism or anything like that. So I think that, Penn can actually match up well. I think, if they're shooting well, if they get hot, that could be bad for Illinois.
Yeah. But because the name says Illinois, I'm going to pencil in Illinois there. But, man, I don't know.
I mean, Penn needed a prayer from a Hail Mary just to make it into the tournament.
Yes, to tie it to make it go into overtime.
Yeah, so that was a heck of a shot. It's 40th point. I don't know how Yale let that guy take that shot, but, sometimes it be like that.
Okay, JJ, back to OK City. Texas A&M against St. Mary's. Texas A&M is 10, St. Mary's is 7.
Yeah, St. Mary's, they're normally competing with Gonzaga for the Western Athletic Conference, or the WCC conference title, but they were upset by Santa Clara actually this year. So, yeah, I don't know if St. Mary's has a traditional powerhouse type of team. I would not be surprised Texas A&M. I have them advancing.
Okay, you have them advancing. I have them losing. So let's go to the West.
All right, let's manifest destiny. Let's go back.
That's right. Wisconsin High Point. High Point's 30-4, playing in Portland, Oregon. Wisconsin's 24-10.
Yeah, we already touched on High Point in Wisconsin, but yeah, like I said, they have a dynamic offense. Wisconsin has dynamic guards though. They have Nick Boyd, transfer from FAU, and John Blackston. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he's a third-year guard from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and they average 20 points and 18 points a game, respectively.
And guards are very important in the tournament time, right?
They are very, very important, but Wisconsin is balanced. They have a front court play as well. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people picking High Point to beat Wisconsin. I'm not one of those people. I think Wisconsin is too well-rounded. I think they're playing too well right now. They really should have beaten Michigan a couple of days ago. So I have Wisconsin beating High Point.
And Wisconsin did beat Michigan earlier this year, and they played them good in the tournament. Excuse me. JJ, still in the West and in Portland, Arkansas Razorbacks and the Hawaii Rainbows. Do you like rainbows?
I am neutral on rainbows. They're fine, I guess.
Okay. Who you got in the game?
I have the team that made the tournament last year. Unfortunately, Hawaii, this is their first time making the tournament it was 13 years? I can't remember how long it was. It's been a while since they made the tournament last, and I think they're going to be a one and done.
Will Arkansas be fatigued from when this game gets started?
I don't think so.
I've never been a fan of these traveling things from East Coast to West Coast. I don't know. I think Arkansas has the better athlete by a mile, and maybe even fatigue won't work. Hopefully they can get their bench some playing time, because right now Arkansas is playing 7 players, JJ.
Yeah, that's the thing. They they just had to win 4 games in 4 days or three games in 3 days. But I forgot they got the double bye. But
Triple.
yeah. But
Double. My bad.
But Hawaii had to win their conference as well. And yeah, I think the fatigue will be somewhat similar. The travel will be somewhat similar. I think Arkansas is going to have a lot more fans than Hawaii.
Really?
In Portland, yeah, just because Hawaii, I don't think, has a huge fan base.
Yeah.
Now, I think that the neutral fans will probably be rooting for Hawaii, like the other fans there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you always want to root for the underdog, but I don't think
I have a feeling Arkansas will be the underdog on the West Coast. But we'll see. JJ, Texas and NC State in the play-in game. For both the 11 seeds. That's in Dayton, Ohio. Who you got winning that game?
If I'm not mistaken, no, Sean Miller played for Pittsburgh. It's his brother, Archie Miller, that played for NC State. I was about to say that was going to be the coach of Texas, but it was actually the coach of Texas's brother that played for NC State. That would be an interesting matchup. NC State has, I think, the better coach. I think Will Wade is still the better coach, but they've had some ups and downs. Like, they should have never found themselves in Dayton at this situation. Like, just a couple of weeks ago, I think people had them as an 8 seed, 9 seed. They've just been on a downward trajectory. Their guard play and their leadership. Trey Holloman has not fulfilled the role that I think that Will Wade expected of him as a senior leader, and from a leadership standpoint and a production standpoint, I think he's underwhelmed, and he's been coming off the bench here and there. He just hasn't been producing, getting to double digits or anything like that. So,
who's going to win that game?
I think
NC State
should win it. I think they have more depth. I think if they, I think Texas, it's been kind of a long season for Texas. I think they're kind of ready to pack it in. So I have NC State. Who do you have?
I actually have Texas.
Okay.
But then Texas play BYU if they win. BYU is a one-man team.
Or 2-man team, I think, now.
Okay. I just wonder about BYU going in this tournament. But
you're not wrong. I mean, at one point in time, they had 3 guys. Rob Wright, he was averaging over 20, and Richie Saunders was averaging 20, and AJ DeBonsa was as well. They had 3 guys, but, Richie Saunders tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Now AJ DeBonsa picked up his scoring. He's averaging over 26 points a game. He's leading, or averaging over 25 points a game. He's leading the country in scoring. Um, but really, other than Rob Wright, there's not a lot of depth in BYU. There's no like a lot. There's not a lot of options for AJ to go to. So
I can see the NC State or Texas being them if either one of them just get a little offense. But that's, I don't know.
I agree.
JJ, Miami and Missouri in St. Louis. We mentioned that earlier. That's a 7 seed Miami against the 10 seed Missouri. Miami from the ACC and Missouri from the SEC playing in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jai Lucas has been great his initial year as a head coach
At Miami.
at Miami. Last year he was lead assistant at Duke. Yeah, I don't think Missouri. I think Missouri's seeded 10th for a reason. It is in St. Louis, so they will have that advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but I have Miami advancing.
Still in St. Louis, JJ. Purdue and Queens. Queens, North Carolina. Purdue's a 2 seed. Are you surprised by Purdue being a 2 seed?
Absolutely, they wouldn't have been a 2 seed had they not done what they did. They would have been a 3 seed. But honestly, kind of surprised if they would have been that. I have not been super impressed with Purdue, other than this run. Yeah. I don't see how they're a 2 seed, and St. John's is a 5 seed.
Yeah.
I just don't get that. Or even Arkansas being a 4 seed, I would have put them on the same line. If Arkansas is a 4 seed, then I think Purdue's a 4 seed, 3 seed at best. But they did beat Michigan. They won the Big Ten Conference tournament. They beat UCLA. They were seeded 7th. They were the second lowest seeded team to win it since Michigan did it all those years ago. Kudos to them. Hats off to them. I think that they beat Queens and then they lose to the next round.
There's often a 2-15 upset. I don't see this being the one. I remember Michigan State played Queens earlier this year, right around Christmas time. Michigan State, it was at the Breslin Center. Michigan State handled them easily. And Queens just really didn't put up a fight, and I really can't see them putting up a fight against Purdue. We're going to come back into the Sweet 16, but first, AJ, let's finish up with the West before we try to get a Sweet 16 pick in here. Michigan, number 1 seed, play UMBC or Howard. This is in Buffalo, New York.
It's in Buffalo, New York. UMBC has a history as a 16 seed of upsetting 1 seeds. But I don't think either they or Howard has the ability to do that against Michigan. So I have Michigan winning.
JJ, Michigan is playing in Buffalo and Michigan State is playing in Buffalo. Should they charter out to Buffalo together?
So if they did, they'd have to do it on their own dime. So I guess you might as well. But I think because of their region, and because of the TSA shortage or whatever, just the federal government isn't paying the employees. They're providing a bus.
TSA. Okay.
So
okay.
I mean, if they choose not to take the bus, they can. It's on their own dime. So I would think it would be nice if they could get together and just be kumbaya in one plane. But I don't think that'd go over so well.
Okay. Michigan will play the winner of, most likely, if they win the first game, the winner of Georgia. St. Louis. Georgia SEC team. St. Louis is a 9 seed. Georgia's is an 8 seed. How you like that game?
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis is back in the tournament for the first time in a long time. They have a couple of transfers from Indiana State along with their coach. I like St. Louis a lot. I do have Georgia beating St. Louis, but
okay.
I like St. Louis a lot.
Alabama Hofstra. Alabama's a 4 seed. Hofstra is a 13 seed.
Yeah, Speedy Claxton, probably their most famous alumni when it comes to on the basketball side of things. He's coaching them now as the head coach. He was the assistant coach last time they made the tournament, which was in 2020, which everybody remembers there not being a tournament then. The only time before that they made a tournament was when Speedy Claxton was a player. So this is everything comes full circle. This is a great story. Have Alabama winning by quite a lot. But there is a little bit of a issue with Alabama in the news. Their second leading scorer
Oh,
got arrested
today.
today. His house got raided early this morning. They had a pound of marijuana. So we don't know what the ramifications of that are. To my knowledge, LeBaron Philon's house didn't get raided, so he should still be fine.
He's their best player. But Alabama had some issues this year. First, using the G League player who for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 games, him being ruled ineligible, and now they got this drug. And then I don't know. Alabama just had history with their basketball teams, man, doing some weird things. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's always something. It's not like how Georgia football is when it's always automotive related issues. It's not. They don't have one lane. Alabama likes to mix things up with their criminal charges. So at least this one's a non-violent one. I mean, there was nothing. It's just honestly, he's making millions of dollars. I don't know if
Probably have a pound of marijuana.
but you know what? Honestly, he's making millions of dollars. Maybe he isn't trying to distribute it. Maybe he just had that for him for the next year. I mean, I don't know how these people act. I've never been given millions of dollars at the age of 21 or at the age of anything. So, I can't really
I'll
put
leave
myself
it
in
no
this
will.
position. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Okay, JJ, Tennessee SEC team. They play the winner of Miami, Ohio, and SMU.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of talent, but I mean, how healthy is Tennessee? They went out early in the SEC tournament to Vandy. Um, you know, ha- you look at Tennessee and you wonder how good they are. But how healthy are they? Is Nate Amen? What percentage is he? Is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be 80%? I have them beating SMU, who I think will beat Miami of Ohio. But I think you know.
Well, I have Miami of Ohio or SMU beating Tennessee. That's just me, though.
Okay.
Okay, the last SEC Big Ten team, JJ, Kentucky plays Santa Clara in St. Louis. Kentucky's a 7 seed, Santa Clara's a 10 seed.
That's true. Yeah, Kentucky had a pretty disappointing season. A lot of injuries had a lot to do with that. Jaden Quaintance, Jaden Lowe. These guys are starters. So yeah. Even with that said, Santa Clara. I mean, they haven't beaten anybody of consequence for the most part. They've lost to Gonzaga every time they played them. Kentucky also lost to Gonzaga by about 30, but you know, I don't think Santa Clara is proven. I don't think they've beaten enough teams to. I mean, they haven't beat anybody of Kentucky's caliber. So I do think that Kentucky does have the senior leadership with Denzel Aberdeen, the Florida Gator transfer who was the sixth man off the bench. He's been very, very steady as the point guard, stepping in for Jaden Lowe. Like his assist to turnover ratio has been excellent. Otega Owe, as long as he doesn't play like he did against Florida again, like I think he's put his team on his back this last month. Everything, defense, points, rebounds, assists. So I do think that they have the personnel to really blow Santa Clara out the water, honestly. So
Okay. Well, JJ, how many teams from the SEC you have making it to the Sweet 16? Getting through this coming weekend, and how many do you have from the Big Ten?
I haven't counted that yet. I mean, I don't know. What do you? How many do you have?
I haven't counted them, but I was going to count them off your paper or right here. But do you what Big Ten school and what SEC school after seeing the bracket do you think will underperform?
Underperform relative to the bracket. I thought Wisconsin could go far. Unfortunately for them, they got seeded where they'd be facing Arkansas a lot earlier than I expected. So just matchups make fights. I don't think that Wisconsin necessarily matches up particularly well against Arkansas, but it depends. Wisconsin can make shots, so Arkansas is going to have to get out there and guard. Purdue.
I'm saying underperform.
Wisconsin.
Okay.
Is a team I think will underperform.
Interesting.
Because I thought Wisconsin could be a Final Four. Like Wisconsin, had they been seated differently, if they had been in say the East, I could see them going to the Final Four.
Okay.
But I so not underperform relative to seeding. If you want just underperform relative to seeding, then I guess we'll go with Purdue.
That's what I was gonna go with.
Okay.
I was gonna go with Purdue. That's why I was kind of surprised you said.
Well, because I was so bullish. Like Nick Boyd is he's a guy. Same thing with Blackman. But if we're just doing relative to seeding, then I think Purdue's incredibly overseeded, and I think they'll be exposed.
I would even go Illinois before I would go with Wisconsin. But I would go with Purdue underperforming first, and then Illinois, and then maybe Wisconsin. But when it comes to SEC teams, they got 10 of them there. Nobody's on East bracket, which is amazing to me. No SEC team from the East. They're not, what I would say, highly rated. Florida is rated number 1, and I think Florida will. I can't see anyone keeping them away from the Elite Eight. I think they would hook up with Houston at some point in time. But
I think the team that just blew them out by about 20 could blow them out by about 20 again, said that meeting again. But that's just me.
Well, they would be in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
So Vandy in Florida. That's possible. I'm looking forward to Vandy, Nebraska in the second round. I think that's going to be really, really big.
Well, hopefully we get it. There will be Nebraska's first win that they'd be coming off of, so that'd be nice for them.
Well, you know what? I did not count up the wins for this weekend for the SEC or the Big Ten. But without counting JJ, 10 teams, will they hang around very long? Will you ever?
I think some will hang around longer than others. I have a couple of teams from, I think that they got the most teams in. The Big Ten got 9, the SEC got 10. They led the way, but I don't see a lot of those teams making it past the Sweet 16. Spoiler alert. But, there might be a team or two I have making it to Elite Eight.
Yeah, I think Tennessee could go out early myself, but that's me. Any team you want to touch on, JJ? Not an SEC team, or I know you mentioned St. John's a little bit earlier.
No, I mean it's just a shame. North Carolina. I think Caleb Wilson really could have made a name for himself in this tournament. I think that they could have really went on a run. He broke his hand. He's out.
Yeah.
I think that's that's good for Illinois, but I think that's bad for the NCAA tournament as a whole. That's bad for Herb. Hubert Davis. I think that's bad for North Carolina. So, that's sad to see. But other than that, let the games begin. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I agree. Let the games begin, and the next time we come back, it'll be down to 16 teams, AJ.
Hey, get ready to watch all types of basketball this weekend. It's going to be great.
P.S.
I second that.
We'll pick Suey.